So far, we've seen that Yu invites Jin-Woo to a restaurant and asks him to join his guild. In return, he promises to give Jin-Woo 30 billion won in advance before any missions. But Jin-Woo feels that's a little too low, so he hesitates. Later, when Jin-Woo is completing his daily tasks at home, he notices that the system is even recording his extra exercises. At the end, he receives a dungeon key and discovers that it's actually an S-rank dungeon key. After facing many hardships, he manages to defeat the dungeon's guardian. The episode starts with Jin-Woo, who has come to the hospital to see his mom. Here, he's thinking about creating the elixir of life, for which he needs 3 items, but right now, he doesn't have even one of them. If Jin-Woo wants to collect those items, he'll have to go back into the same dungeon from where he was badly beaten last time. That's why if he doesn't want to get beaten again, he'll have to level up first. In the next scene, Jin-Woo is sitting with Jin-Ho, and here Jin-Woo finally accepts the offer that Jin-Ho had given him earlier. That means Jin-Woo will go with this guy on a C-rank mission. Hearing this, Jin-Ho becomes happy, but Jin-Woo tells him that he has one condition. Jin-Woo says, "Only you and I will go on this mission. No one else." After hearing that, Jin-Ho says, "What are you talking about? For a C-rank mission, at least 8 people are required." Then Jin-Woo replies, "If that's the case, then you can find people to fill in the gap, just like Dong-Suk did." Jin-Ho warns him that it could be very dangerous, to which Jin-Woo says, "That depends on how you look at things. Think for yourself. If you complete 19 missions in a row without getting injured, your dad will finally start paying attention to you." After hearing this, Jin-Ho gets highly motivated and becomes ready to work hard. He also says that he'll take care of the team members and the gate himself. The next scene shifts to Cha Hae-in, who's out running. You can see her relaxing while drinking some water. After a bit of stretching, Cha Hae-in says, "Come out. I know you're hiding." At that moment, a man steps out and says, "That's what I expected from an S-rank hunter." Then he hands her his business card. After that, the scene shifts to Jin-Ho, who's sitting in a car with his father. Here, his father says that ever since the gates appeared, the world has changed drastically. Infrastructure, the economy, everything is somehow linked to the dungeons, especially infrastructure. He further explains that the materials and resources obtained from dungeons are vital for the world's survival, and only hunters can gather them. Jin-Ho listens carefully, just like any child would when their parent is giving serious advice. Jin-Ho's father continues, "The Hunter Association is a government agency that manages all hunters. It also classifies new hunters, assigns them ranks, and controls dungeon breaks and newly appearing gates. But at the end of the day, it's still a government institution." He adds that most resources are actually managed by guilds, corporations built around hunters. That's why these guilds make the biggest profits. He names a few: the Fiend Guild, Fame Guild, Night Guild, Hunters Guild, and White Tiger Guild. The 5 major guilds that dominate the entire country's market. As a businessman, Jin-Ho's father can't just sit back and watch. He wants to handle these resources himself and help strengthen the nation. So he says they need to create their own guild as soon as possible. Hearing all this, Jin-Ho agrees and says, "Yes, of course." He then starts thinking that if he and his brother could somehow recruit S-rank hunters and form a guild, it would be great, but it would also come with huge risks. The next scene cuts to Jin-Woo, who's out running. He completes all his daily goals for the day and receives a random loot box as a reward. When he opens it, he finds a bingo card inside. While walking, Jin-Woo wonders how he can level up faster. Just then, he receives an email from the Hunter Association, inviting him to a D-rank mission. At first, Jin-Woo thinks he's not going to do it. But in the end, he decides to accept the mission. The scene then shifts again, this time to a new place where we see Mr. Song sitting with one of his students. He's also received an email. The student asks, "Sir, have you ever thought about retiring?" Hearing this, Mr. Song recalls everything that happened in the Kartinon temple. He then replies, "My arm's already gone, and I'm too old now. Maybe it's time for me to finally retire." The next scene shows Mishima, who's spending time with his daughter. He, too, has received an email from the Hunter Association. Here, Mishima's wife tells him the same thing. "You should quit being a hunter. In the last mission, so many people died, and even you barely made it back alive. After hearing her, Mishima replies, our daughter will start kindergarten next year, and our older one is already in junior high. We really need the money right now. He adds, the Hunter Association never sends low-rank hunters like me on dangerous missions. Last time was just bad luck. Hearing that, his wife looks a little relieved and says, I shouldn't have said that. Mishima smiles gently and says, it's okay. It happens. Then his little daughter asks, Daddy, are you strong? Mishima smiles again and replies, Daijubu Saiku Takara, meaning it's okay. I'm the strongest. The next scene cuts to Cha Hae-in's guild, where the guild master is arguing with the White Tiger guild master. Here, Yoonho shouts at Choi, are you crazy? Why did you dump all those pointless media interviews on me? But Choi remains calm and says, oh, come on, I saw your interview. You're quite good at giving speeches. Still angry, Yoonho yells, cut the nonsense. That's your job, not mine. Choi deeply. Well, it was the chairman's request. He wanted us to show the public what a hunter's real work and life are like. And honestly, I didn't think I was the best fit for it. Hearing that, Yoonho sighs and says, forget all that. Just tell me what you want from me. Choi places a file on the table and says, it looks like Eugene Construction is planning to form its own guild. Yoonho looks at the file and nods. Yeah, I already know. They're currently looking for people. Yoonho says, the people from Eugene Group are even approaching hunters from my guild. Hearing this, Choi replies, so, you already knew that? Then I was stressing out for nothing. Yoonho looks through the file again and says, just tell me honestly, what do you really want from me? The next scene shifts to Jui's house. Here, she's talking with her mother. Her mom asks, doesn't this hunter job make you uncomfortable? I heard you're a B-Rank hunter, but honestly, I think someone else in your place would be much stronger. It would be better if you just came back home. Hearing that, Jui gets a little upset. She replies, stop making decisions for me, Mom. I can make my own choices about my life. Her mother is about to say something more, but before she can, Jui ends a call. She sits quietly for a moment, thinking, maybe I should give it one more try. She then walks into another room, and we see on her phone the same email from the Hunter Association. The next scene focuses on Cha Hae-in again. She's walking into Choi's office, and just as she arrives, she sees Yoonho coming out of the room. Cha greets him politely and continues inside. As soon as she enters, Choi asks, what's the matter, Cha? Cha Hae-in deeply. While I was training, a man from Eugene Construction approached me. He tried to recruit me to their side, she adds. I came here to report that incident, and I also feel like they're planning to form a guild, and they're trying to recruit S-rank hunters for it. Cha Hae-in continues, they're planning to make me the guild master. Choi raises an eyebrow and says, so you came here to report this to me? Does that mean you rejected their offer? Cha nods and replies, yes, I refused them right on the spot. Hearing that, Choi smiles and says, thank you, Cha. She replies politely, it's nothing. By the way, while coming here, I saw Yoonho outside your office. The scene then shifts to a bar, where Yoonho is sitting quietly. He's remembering what Choi had told him earlier. What do you think about Jeju Island? Choi had explained that ever since the third raid, everyone has been forbidden from entering that island. Now, only occasional patrols are sent there, mostly security teams who just go to inspect the situation. To the public, the government says there's some work under progress on the island, but in reality, the place remains untouched and dangerous. Choi had said, the fear of that island has faded from people's minds, but I can never forget about it. Someday I'll go back there, and I'll conquer Jeju Island. That's why Choi had called Yoonho to form a new team, a powerful group that could one day take back that cursed island. At that moment, Yoonho finally realizes the interviews being held for new recruits were actually for this very mission. The scene shifts back to Yoonho, still lost in thought, replaying Choi's words in his mind. He also thinks about something he left behind on Jeju Island long ago. By the way, buddies, if you've forgotten, Jeju Island is the same one we saw all the way back in episode 1. The place where countless hunters were wiped out. Next, the scene cuts to Jin-Woo's house. He's getting ready to head out somewhere. His sister says, "Every time you go near a gate, you come back beaten up, but now you return without a single scratch. Is it because of all that exercise you've been doing lately?" Jin-Woo smiles and says, "Yeah, you could say that. But whatever it is, at least now I can earn money comfortably." After saying that, he heads out. The next scene shows Mr. Song, lost in thought. He realizes that his awakening isn't of the physical type, because his athletic strength alone can't kill a single beast. Instead, his awakening must be of the magical type. Just then, as he's walking, as Mr. Song is walking, he suddenly spots Jin-Woo. Seeing him, Song looks surprised and asks, "Wait, you're Jin-Woo, right?" Jin-Woo smiles and says, "Yeah, it's me." Song looks at him in disbelief and says, "That immature, weak kid I first met. Where did he go? You've changed so much in just a few months." After that, Song notices Jin-Woo's leg, the one that was once injured, and asks, "What about your leg? It was badly hurt back then." Jin-Woo replies, "When I woke up in the hospital, it had already healed. I don't even know how." Song nods thoughtfully and says, "That's possible. Maybe a high-level healer treated you without your knowledge." Then, smiling, Song adds, "I'm really glad to see you again, and even happier that you recovered so fast." Jin-Woo then asks about Mr. Song's arm, and Song says, I couldn't get it treated in time, so now it's just the way it is." As they continue walking, Jin-Woo asks, "So, why are you here today?" Song replies, "I got an email from the Hunter Association, a call for a D-Rank mission." Soon, they arrive near the gate, and Jin-Woo notices something. These are the same people from episode 1. Jui is also there. She sees Jin-Woo, and her face lights up with surprise and happiness. "Jin-Woo, is that really you?" she says. "You've changed so much." Before they can talk more, a car suddenly pulls up nearby. 3 criminals step out of it, their expressions arrogant and unruly. They start harassing Jui, but before things escalate, a man steps out from the same car, the mage from Jiu-Jitsu gang, and says coldly, "You weren't brought here to have fun." At that moment, a Hunter Association officer steps forward and informs the hunters, "These 3 criminals will be joining you for this mission." Hearing that, Mr. Song looks shocked and says, "What? How can criminals join us on a mission? This is insane." Mr. Song angrily says, "You're really sending criminals with us?" The woman from the Hunter Association calmly replies, "These 3 want to reduce their sentences, so don't worry, they won't harm you in any way." And yes, the guy who looks kind of like Megumi, his name is Kang. He'll also be joining your team to keep an eye on them. Kang is a B-Rank hunter, so if anything goes wrong, he'll handle it. Jin-Woo frowns and says, "Something doesn't feel right about this." He turns to Jui and tells her, "You should go home. This place isn't safe." But Jui shakes her head and says, "If you're going, then I'm going too." The handcuffs on the 3 criminals are removed, and Kang warns them, "Don't even think about doing anything stupid." It's then decided that Mr. Song will once again be the team captain. He bows slightly to Jin-Woo and says, "Thank you for giving me another chance to lead." Jin-Woo replies, "There's no need to thank me, sir." After that, the group enters the dungeon, and what happens inside, we'll find out next week. Until then, if you're new to the channel, make sure to hit the like button, and of course subscribe, if you want to keep watching awesome anime breakdowns like this one.